Good evening, councillors, staff, ladies and gentlemen in the gallery and those that are tuned in online. Please be seated while Councillor Kevin McDonald delivers the blessing. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. It's hard to believe that Christmas is already rapidly approaching, and it's timely we spare our thoughts and prayers for the many families, especially the little ones, who are doing it tough, and remind ourselves it is the season for giving. I offer a prayer of hope and faith for these families, good tidings, love and joy over this Christmas, and pray that 2024 brings them all they wish for. Amen.
Thank you, Councillor McDonald. Can I begin by acknowledging that we are meeting on the traditional lands of the Wadjuk Noongar people? On behalf of Council, pay my respects to their elders, both past, present and emerging. It is now 7 p.m. and I declare the meeting open. Announcement of visitors. We have our former Mayor Owen Searle in the gallery. Evening, Mrs Searle. Disclaimer. Former Councillor Terry Brown as well, of course. Members of the public are cautioned against taking any action on council decisions on items in which they may have an interest until such time as they've seen a copy of the minutes of the meeting or have been advised in writing by the city staff. Record of attendance. Councillor Baynes has a leave of absence for this evening. Otherwise, we are all here. Disclosures of interest. I have a disclosure of interest on item number 13.3.3, which is on page 11. It's an impartiality interest, and the elected president of the Gosnells Women Collective is a relative of mine. Okay. Announcements of presiding member. I think I'll just do the one announcement rather than to fog the importance of it, and congratulate Director Blake and her team on an exceptionally well-received and fantastic Fusion Festival. It was awesome, so well done to you all. Could you please clap? No, it was really good, and maybe some of the councillors will give you some more praise when they are able to speak. Moving on, are there any reports of delegates? No reports of delegates, okay. That was your opportunity to praise. You do it in a minute. Question time. Are there any questions? No questions. Public statements? No public statements. Confirmation of minutes. Can I get a mover? Councillor Adams to move that. Councillor McDonald to second that. Are there any questions on this item? No. Councillors, please cast your vote. Thank you. That has been carried. Moving on to receiving of petitions and presentations. Are there any? No. Thank you, councillors. Are there any applications for leave of absence? Got one here for Councillor Zhang, requesting seeks a leave of absence for the council meeting on the 28th of November 2023 for personal reasons. Councillor Zhang, you happy to move? Councillor Williamson to move that. Can I get a seconder? Councillor Dewhurst, thank you. If you could please cast your vote. Thank you. That has been carried. There are no questions of which due notice has been given. No items to bring forward, so we move straight on to 13.2.1, the draft modified local planning policy 1.1 residential development final adoption. Councillor Dewhurst to move that. Can I get a seconder? Councillor Adams to second that. Any debate? Councillor Adams? No? Councillor Williamson, thank you.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'd just like to move an amendment to the motion that reads, I, Councillor Serena Williamson, propose the following, that Council pursuant to Clause 4, Section 3 of Schedule 2 of the Planning and Development Local Planning Schemes Regulations 2015 adopts modified local planning policy 1.1 residential development as contained in Appendix 13.2.1b with the retention of design element 5.2.2 of the existing policy in its current form. For the following reason, design element 5.2.2 provides flexibility for housing and garage design which has minimal impact on the streetscape and is consistent with the form of development and streetscapes found in newly subdivided areas. Thank you.
I'm happy to second that. Did you want to speak to that further? Thank you.
Yes, thank you. This amendment is to allow for houses on narrow lots to still have a double garage The change that we have here is consistent to what we have had for a very long time, so it's retaining the existing policy. If we were to remove that, the additional landscaped area would only be 2 metres in width, or 2 square metres that you would have on a lot, but it would mean there would be single garages, and that would mean there would be greater cars parked on the front lawns or on the roads in the areas. So I think keeping this part of the condition, or this in the policy, is beneficial to the council as a whole. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Williamson. Is there anybody that wants to speak against the amendment? Anybody else for the amendment? Councillor Dewhurst, thank you.
Thanks, Madam Mayor. Look, I'm going to talk in support of the amendment. I've just got to say that this is absolutely well picked up. So I want to commend Councillor Williamson for bringing this up, because the pain that we would have caused people building in the city would have been, quite significant. It's quite stressful doing that at the time. And if I've got to pick out a yearly Christmas tape, whatever, of the best amendments for the year, this one's got to be it, because it's going to create less pain, so much less pain for builders. And it's, so well done, Councillor Williamson.
Thank you, Councillor Dewhurst. Any further debate on this item? Councillor Good, thank you.
Just seeking a clarification, Mayor Lyons, and perhaps the planner could just double check. We are talking that it says here 2.2, or is it 5.5.2? We're talking about the garage width, is that what we're referring to? Just a bit puzzled by
I
the
believe
number
that
on this-
Chris
this
can
is on
explain
page
that.
4.
Somebody else asked the question earlier, so I know that the director's
Sorry.
got that. Sorry.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. We in the report we referred to clause 5.5.2, and that was an error, which reflected the error in the submission. The only submission we got that also referred to it wrongly, but we've got it right in the attachment, and we've got it right on Councillor Williamson's amendment tonight.
Thank you. Any further? Councillor Williamson, did you want to close on that? Thank you.
Thank you. I'd just like to thank Councillor Dewhurst for the comments, but I also wanted to point out it was Director Terralink and the Mayor as well that also picked up on this. So thank you.
Councillor Williamson, that was a Christmas present for you. Councillors, will you please cast your vote? Thank you. Thank you. That has been carried, and now we'll put that back with the original item. Is there any further debate on the original item? No? Councillors, if you could please cast your vote. Thank you. That has been carried. Moving on to item number 13.3.1, the report on the petition for the request for park equipment and a barbecue at Woodswallow Parkway in Maddington. Can I get a mover? Councillor Adams to move that. Can I get a seconder? Deputy Mayor Hort to second that. Councillor Adams, any debate or questions? Deputy Mayor? No? Councillor McDonald. Thank you.
Madam Mayor, I'd like to propose a foreshadowed motion at this point.
You can read it out. Thank you. It's an amendment to the motion.
Sorry?
It's amendment. Hold. Sorry. You're correct. It is a foreshadowed motion.
Thank you.
Sorry, just point. Why? Can you explain to us why? It's a foreshadowed, not just an amendment?
The CEO is going to explain that to you. Thank you, Mr. CEO.
The suggestion is that each item be put independently, and what Councillor McDonald's trying to do is to say we should put in a barbecue, whereas the recommendation was we shouldn't, so it's completely reversing what the staff were proposing.
Thank you, Councillor McDonald.
Thank you.
CEO.
I, Councillor McDonald, propose the following: that part 3 of the staff recommendation be replaced with the following: that Council approves the installation of a barbecue at Woodswallow Parkway Reserve with funding to be listed in the 2024-25 budget. The following reason: I submit that a $20,000 investment in this community infrastructure is actively sought by community, will be actively used by community, will bring community together, and with minimal maintenance cost, is something council can seriously consider and well within the range of approving.
Can I get a seconder for... No, this is the one you foreshadowed if the other one's lost. Okay, that's coming back to us then. So we'll now go back to the original item. Councillor Dewhurst.
Thanks, Madam Mayor. Look, I would like the council to consider the motion as it is now. And the reasons I ask that is that I don't support a barbecue for going down there. The main reasons being, the fact is that Westfield Street Reserve's 1.2 k's away, you've got Harmony Fields 1.5 k's away, and then the future development of Gibbs Road is only going to be 750 metres away. We don't normally put barbecues in our local parks, and I can think of at least 11, Madam Mayor, that would be significant, have no barbecues anywhere near but local parks. If we set this precedent now, it's going to be very hard to deny people coming for barbecues in the area. And I'm sure councillors have had people come to them and say, I want to have a barbecue in my local park. And when you've, as a councillor, you go, well, you can't have it. The reason being is because it's a local park. It's not a regional. It's not a park that we put barbecues in there. So I'd ask councillors, please support the motion as it is now. Don't set a precedent, because I think we're going to get a flood of barbecues. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Dewhurst. Deputy Mayor Hort, thank you.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Yeah, look, echoing Councillor Dewhurst's concerns, I know of at least 3 locations. I thought I said 2 before, but there's actually 3 that are preparing petitions for, I don't know if they're local parks or not, I'd have to look at the hierarchy, for barbecues. McMahon Reserve in Thornley, the River Haven in Martin, and Aldington in Maddington, that are all looking for barbecues. Now, I'm not sure if they're local parks or not, but I think Councillor Dewhurst is bang on the money. There needs to be a line as to where we do use these resources. I appreciate the community has wanted this, but there are others in close proximity. The question that I have, so I'm obviously not in support of the foreshadowed motion and think we should consider this motion as is. The question I have is, are there any rules that prohibit a community from bringing their own barbecue to their local park?
Brad Brooke is shaking his head to say no, there are no rules that prohibit them from doing that.
So if we've got a core group of people that are quite small from what we see in the petition, and maybe it's bigger and we didn't capture the entire community in that petition, they can always take their own barbecue down to their local park. I've certainly taken my little Weber down to a local park if I need it, and I'd suggest that the community look at that option. I think it's great that they've engaged us in this conversation. It's fantastic that we're able to discuss this, all the items that come to us as a council. That's what the petition's there for, but I don't think it's the best use of the funds in this case. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Further debate? Councillor Williamson, thank you.
Thank you. I'm of the opposing view. So I do believe we should be doing the play equipment, but I would like to support Councillor McDonald's foreshadowed motion to approve a barbecue. The reasons that I think a barbecue should be allowed in a local park is to actually look at the area and the location and the block sizes. So when you look at this development, these blocks are small blocks. They may not have much of a backyard to have anyone over. It's a family visits, friends visits, they got birthday parties, gatherings. By putting a barbecue in there, it may be the reason to bring the community together. That barbecue may be what builds this community network. It may be the place where the neighbourhood watch will set up. They'll start looking after each other. They'll get to know their neighbours. I think the reasoning that we have Gibbs Park in close proximity, when you look at the actual road networks here, you're asking these people in those smaller subdivisions to cross over Della Road. That's quite a main road, and it is quite a distance to actually get over to Gibbs Park or over to Harmony Fields along there. And I think the people that you have gathering at Harmony Fields is not your little community network. It's a bigger group. We've got the bigger playgrounds there. We've got the sporting fields. So I think if that barbecue, if this neighbourhood is telling us that barbecue is what will bring together their little community, then I think this is worth the investment to build that community. So I will not be supporting the motion as it is, and I would like to support the foreshadowed motion. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Williamson. Any further? Councillor Betts, thank you.
My understanding is that there is another
a larger park or further up in the hierarchy that's going to be redeveloped in a couple of years' time, that presumably will have a barbecue in it. And given the 2-year waiting period with Western Power, if we were actually to apply for that connection now, it might be ready for when the park gets done. Is that possible? Because it seems if we were to put in a barbecue at this park and at the upgrade other one, it's a little bit perhaps too much in one area. Just wondering whether that's how the mechanics of that would work with Western Power. Perhaps Mr. Glover can.
Okay, yeah, Mr. Glover, could you just answer around the Western Power question? Thank you.
Through you, Madam Mayor, in terms of Western Power, we are looking at a minimum of 15 months for a design and then between 6 and 12 months for installation. And there is a park proposed immediately to the east to the site of the right classification.
Thank you, Director. Councillor Dewhurst, do you have a question?
Yeah, a couple of questions. Is that Gibbs Street, and is that the one that's going to be 750 metres away?
Thank you, Director Glover.
Through you, Madam Mayor, no, it's actually a new park that's going to be built as part of the adjoining subdivision, and it's probably around about 200 metres away, I would say.
200 metres away. Okay, thank you very much.
Can I further ask a question on that then? Are you able to point on the map of where this park's going to be? Because I think that's a little bit of new information that I may have missed. And do we have the subdivision application in for this already, or is it something that's... Yeah, okay, thank you.
Through you, Madam Mayor, yes, the subdivision application is in, and we understand they're going to commence shortly. It's if you look on the map, immediately to the northeast, you'll see 3 rectangular blocks.
Yeah.
It's in the middle of that. Yeah.
Oh, in this slot here?
Yeah.
Up in the top corner. And they are going to have a park in it with a barbecue?
They will have a neighbourhood classification park. There, we will attempt to get the developer to put the barbecue in. If they're not, though, it is the correct classification for one to be installed.
Okay, one more question, sorry. And when do you expect that to be finalised?
From the conversations I've had with planning, the expectation is it will be lots available within the 2-year period.
So, one more question now, sorry. Based on that, why are we recommending that we spend 170,000 on this park?
Through you, Madam Mayor, we do put playgrounds, it's only a small playground we're talking about, we do put them in local parks, and the position from the staff was they felt that this one would be an appropriate one, notwithstanding the fact the new park's only a few hundred metres away.
Okay. Is there any further debate? You got a question, Councillor Williamson? Thank you.
Thank you. With the new subdivision that's there, is it a guarantee that that will have a playground and a barbecue in the new subdivision?
Thank you, Director.
Through you, Madam Mayor, the minimum standard established by the Western Australian Planning Commission does not require to have playgrounds and barbecues in the parks. It does come down to negotiation with developer. The developments within Maddington have tended not to support that and have just provided the minimum standard, which gives turf, reticulation, some benches.
You have a further question?
So could I clarify with that response, we may not have playground equipment and a barbecue in that new subdivision area?
Through you, Madam Mayor, the expectation is that we would be providing those facilities if the developer doesn't. And that is the case with other parks around the city.
Is there any further question, Deputy Mayor? Thank you.
Just 2 questions, Madam Mayor. So we're talking about we've got appendix, I'll just make sure I get the right terminology here. So 13.3.1b, the Maddington Road A strategy plan, that's the precinct that we're talking about. When we're talking about the public open space, we can see it all there. Yeah.
That's correct.
And the park, this larger park, just going by what this is a question, what you said before, it is of the hierarchy, position in the hierarchy, where we would put a barbecue in it. Is that right?
Thank you, Director.
Through you, Madam Mayor. The classification of that park will be neighbourhood park. Barbecues are an optional facility in a neighbourhood park under our hierarchy. Yep.
But not a definite in a neighbourhood park, an optional.
Optional, yes. Thank you.
Understood.
Councillor Williamson, thank you.
Sorry, in that case, if we were to put a barbecue in the one that has the petition on, would we just leave the barbecue off the other park?
Councillor Williamson. Thank you, Director.
Through you, Madam Mayor. We wouldn't be recommending to put a barbecue in that park if a barbecue was to be installed in Woodswallow.
I have a question. Sorry, Director, is there a link from between those blocks into that park for use from the new development into that park? Because I've scribbled all over my paperwork and I can't see that well. Thank you.
Through you, Madam Mayor, there's only the road link between the two.
Okay, thank you. Okay, any further questions on this item? Move this, would you like to? I should probably put a comment in here, and given that there is going to be, I'll enter the debate, given that there is going to be a subdivision in this back end corner, but we're no guarantees that there's going to be a barbecue there, and it could end up coming onto us to put a barbecue in. I think it is important to have a barbecue within this facility, so I am happy to support the foreshadowed motion when it comes up and vote against this one as it is. Thank you. Any further questions or debate on this item? Question, Councillor Dewhurst?
So if the motion is lost, should we be looking at another policy now in regards to barbecues for local parks? Because as I said, there's a number of local parks where people are going to come for it. And this first question. Second question is, are you concerned that you're going to start a precedent now where you're putting, he's got three, I've got a number, so that's $60,000, $80,000 for yours. I mean, so where do we stop? So number one question is there going to be now a change of policy? Number two, is the CEO scared that's going to set a precedent now? Considering that there's considering
Thank you.
Madam Mayor,
Thank you.
but considering the fact that there's barbecue 750, 1.2, 1.5, and logically about 200
Thank
metres
you,
away.
Councillor Dewhurst.
There's
Yes.
a lot of preamble happening here and not a
Thank you.
question.
That was post-amble. Thanks, Madam Mayor.
Sorry, Mr CEO, could you answer those two questions?
Madam Mayor, I'm certainly not scared. Look, I'm not suggesting that we would change the policy unless council was to direct me to. I think, we've got 370 parks, probably 150 are local parks. Realistically, you wouldn't be putting barbecues in all of those. Many are sort of dry parks anyway. So I think you'd be working on this as being something that went against policy rather than amending policy for that. And no, I'm not scared about us doing it.
Councillors, if there are no further questions or debate, can you please cast your vote on this item?
Madam Chair, we need to break that up, I think, because there's three motions, and we don't want to vote everything down.
You might be right. Can I just hold? Yes, you're quite right. Can you cast your vote firstly on staff recommendation 1? Cast your vote on that. Thank you. Thank you, Councillor Betts. Thank you, councillors. That has been carried. Could you please cast your vote on staff recommendation 2? Thank you, councillors. That has been carried. Could you please cast your vote on staff recommendation 3? I've voted against it, so my casting vote will be against it, so that staff recommendation 3 has been lost. Thank you, councillors. Councillor Kevin McDonald, you may do your foreshadowed motion. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I acknowledge the reserve is defined as a local park and falls outside the strict classification and doesn't qualify for a barbecue. This park will, subject to council, well, they have supported the other parts of the motion, have a playground and shade equipment installed. To its enduring credit, the City of Gosnells actively promotes community participation, interaction and inclusion through many of its events, including sanctioned and organised City of Gosnells neighbourhood events. Neighbourhood events are free family events with a focus on locals getting to know each other and community safety. Arranging a traditional Aussie barbecue installed at a local park with a new and growing community promotes precisely that. This is consistent with the intent of the local community through their petition, which seeks park amenities through which families can socialise and promote a positive mental health environment for growth and development of children. Seeking a barbecue to complement the playground demonstrates a collective desire by the local community to gather together, and this is entirely consistent with the aims of council. Nearby parks with barbecues identified as alternative options at 1.2 and 1.5 kilometres are not close in terms of walking, particularly for elderly residents, family groups, pets, and in particular in the heat of an Australian summer. We're told that barbecues can be relocated, and the proposed future development of Gibbs Park, which is still some time off, is also likely to include barbecues. Whilst it is an essential practice that council uses a method of classification to delineate local parks suitable for barbecues, a one-size-fits-all approach doesn't always achieve the right outcome, and this is demonstrated by other examples where local parks, or parks categorised as local parks, have had barbecues installed. Barbecues reflect the Australian way of life and promote local culture, community cohesion and inclusivity. Petitioners living in such a diverse community as the City of Gosnells are simply seeking to embrace an Australian culture and come together as a community. And I submit that a growing local community desirous of engaging with each other and embracing traditional culture is worthy of support.
Thank you, Councillor McDonald. Who seconded that? Can I get a seconder for the foreshadow? Thank you, Councillor Williamson. Would you like to speak to the item? Councillor Williamson? Oh, you want to speak further, Councillor McDonald, sorry.
No, I've finished. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Williamson?
Thank you. I support Councillor McDonald's foreshadowed motion. I think he's captured the sentiment of building community, and I think if a barbecue is what can do that for this part of the community, then we should listen. I think concerns about being scared of the precedents, I really don't think that needs to happen because we consider each application or each petition on its merit to look at what's around, what the actual block sizes are, what's the pattern of the subdivision. So I'm really comfortable with the barbecue in this area, and I hope other councillors would support it too. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Williamson. Is Deputy Mayor Hort then Councillor Dewhurst?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'm very supportive of what Councillor McDonald has dutifully described as a fantastic reason for a local barbecue to be put in place, but I don't think this is the location for it. We know that there's 200 metres away, there's going to be a new park that does meet the needs as a neighbourhood park, tick on the hierarchy to get that barbecue, and I would encourage us to support that in the future as soon as it goes in. It's going to happen at some stage. We're going to get a big neighbourhood park there, and I think it's appropriate that barbecue goes there because of this petition. Then we've got 750 metres away, 1.2 kilometres away and 1.5 kilometres away, there are barbecues as well. I think the service is there. What we do know is that it takes 2 years, maybe even longer than that, for the design and installation of this barbecue to occur. So we're looking at 2.5, maybe longer years until this barbecue is actually installed in a local park, which doesn't match up with the policy and the hierarchy. Whereas we can plan for that to happen in the new public open space that does meet the hierarchy and the policy that's set up as is. So I'm not in support of us putting a barbecue in this local park. I don't think it's the right place for it. We do have the right place coming. It's not like this is going to happen overnight. We're talking years away. And if all else fails in the meantime, can wheel a barbecue out there like any other local park. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Deputy Mayor, Councillor Dewhurst.
Yeah, look, I'm on the same part. I can't support the foreshadowed motion, and the main reason being is that we've got a larger park being built just up the road. We can accommodate more people of the community, and also we can put a barbecue there. I mean, why would you put a barbecue in a small park? It's not we shouldn't be doing it because it feels good. If they didn't have a barbecue within 2-3 kilometres, I can understand that, which some of these local parks don't have barbecues within 2 or 3 or maybe even 4 k's away. So, or actually 3 k's away, I can say that. So it would be very hard for us to say no to that in the future if someone says we've got a barbecue within 3 k's away. So councillors, please, I am scared because I don't like telling people no, this community can have it, but you can't have it as your community. That does concern me. I don't think it will pass the fairness test. And bearing in mind, I know we're all thinking that it's only 20 grand, but it's still 20 grand, councillors. I would much prefer our planning department negotiates with the developer for him to put the playground in and also the barbecue as well. I don't think we should be just hopping, shooting off our hip about putting a barbecue here, a barbecue there. So, councillors, it needs to be thought out. Listen to the people that do this for a living. Our officers recommended no for it, and they recommended no for a reason. And I ask the councillors just to take that into consideration as well. Yeah, that's it. Thanks, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Dewhurst. Any further debate? Councillor Good, thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Lyons. I would normally like to add a lot more, but I actually don't need to. I totally endorse the Deputy Mayor Hort's view, and Councillor Dewhurst, you've both stolen things I wanted to say, so I'm endorsing your views. The only thing I will say is it's just not needed in this location. It just simply isn't. So I endorse their fellow councillors' views.
Thank you. I will just enter the debate as well, and I hear what you're all saying as far as not having them and not approving them willy-nilly all over the place, but with this particular location, actually, why not have a barbecue in both parks? Because what we're looking at here is actually quite a high-density zoned area. It's R30, which is quite high in population for that area, and there's not a lot of public open. There is other public open space, but this, when there's such high density with lots of families living in those small blocks in there, I think they do need a place to come together in Maddington there, and I'm happy to support the foreshadowed motion based on the fact that it is quite a high densified area. Thank you, Councillor McDonald. Any other? Do you want to close if there's no further debate? Councillor Dewhurst, thank you. Yep.
Through you, Madam Mayor, I'm not sure who's going to pick this one up, would it be right in saying that you talk about open space, but would you not consider the fact that all this development here would have to just go underneath the Tonkin Highway to go to public open space, to the reservoir, for instance, and also hopefully, I'm assuming we're going to have parks and recreation at the Kelvin Road Ops Centre, should that go ahead. Would you not consider these places to be appropriate places to go?
If you're asking me, I'll say probably not, because they're quite a distance away. But if you'd like a director to respond, Director Terrelink, maybe you would like to respond to that one. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. The Ops Centre site is fairly easy to access from here with Maddington Road going under the highway, but the recreation facilities there will be much higher order, and some of them will be tailored to specific pastimes. And the issue here is really about that sort of neighbourhood park offering within a close sort of ped shed, probably within 5 or 10 minutes walk, that 400 or 800 metre kind of radius. That's what they're intended to deliver an asset for that surrounding community.
Are there any further questions or debate? Councillor McDonald, would you like to close, please?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Yes, and I thank my fellow councillors for their contribution to this debate. And just draw attention to Councillor Horton, Councillor Good's contention about, or certainly Councillor Hort's contention that we'd be waiting 2 years. Well, I think the proposed bigger park, the Gibbs Park, is not likely to eventuate for at least another 2 years, which would mean a barbecue wouldn't be discussed until that point in time, and therefore that would put that barbecue 4 years away, so at least this way. So I think that's a bit of a flawed argument, and I've listened intently, and I think the councillors opposing this foreshadowed motion are ignoring the community's desired location without a real reason other than the policy hierarchy that we've discussed. So I haven't really heard any other reason why it's not suitable. So thank you.
Thank you, councillors. Will you please cast your vote? Thank you, councillors. That has been carried.
Sorry, Madam Mayor, can we have the who voted up there for it, please? I missed it.
You might have to get that a little bit later on. It doesn't come up on there. Oh, there it is. There you go. Moving on to the 13.3.2. Is that what I'm up to? Sorry. Yes, 13.3.2, the proposed lease of a portion of 43 lot 4985 Mills Road West, Gosnells to Heritage FM Incorporated. Can I get a mover for this? Councillor Williamson, Deputy Mayor, to second that. Councillor Williamson, do you have any? Deputy Mayor, thank you.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. It's a beautiful part of our city, the land that surrounds Heritage FM, and I know it's not what we're here discussing tonight. I'm in support of the proposed lease. I think it's a great service in our community, but I think there's a lot of wasted land that surrounds it, and some of it is under our control as a city. I appreciate not all of it, and I don't know what the use is there, but there's got to be a use. There's got to be a way that we can activate that space. It's a pretty special part of the city, especially just down by the river. We've got the civic gardens just down the hill. There's got to be a way to better activate it. Don't know what it is, but I just want to put it out there that there's some far greater minds than mine that work for this city, and surely we can think of something. Thanks, Madam Mayor.
Thank you for that, Deputy Mayor, and I will let you know that we did write to the state to ask them if we could have that land, and I believe they said that we might be offered it under a management order, but their intention is to sell it eventually, but we can still advocate for that piece of land, because you're quite right, it's a nice piece. Is there any further? No, councillors, if you please cast your vote. Thank you. Thank you, that has been carried. Moving on to 13.3.3, the proposed licence for a portion of the Beckenham Neighbourhood Centre, 27 Birchington Street, Beckenham, to the Gosnells Women Collective. Reminding councillors that I do have an impartiality interest in this, but I am still able to vote on it. Councillors, can I get a mover? Councillor Dewhurst to move this, Councillor Zhang to second it. Councillor Dewhurst, would you like to speak to this? Councillor Zhang? Any other debate on this item? No? Councillors, please cast your vote. Thank you. Thank you, that has been carried. Moving on to 13.5.1, the panel for 2023 turf renovation. Can I get a mover? Councillor Adams to move that. Councillor Good to second that. Is there any debate or questions on this item? No? Councillors, if you could please cast your vote. Thank you, that has been carried. Moving on to item 13.5.2, the tender for 2023 turf supply, delivery and installation. Can I get a mover? Councillor Deputy Mayor Hort to move that. Councillor Good to second that. Any debate or questions on this item? No. Councillors, please cast your vote. Item 13.5.3, 2024 meeting schedule, council and special meetings, including birthdays. Can I get a mover? Councillor Lloyd to move that. Councillor Adams to second that. Is there any debate or questions on this item? No? Thank you, councillors. Please cast your vote. Thank you. That has been carried. There are no motions of which previous notice has been given. There's no urgent business, no confidential matters, and I declare the meeting closed at 7:38. Thank you all. Thank you to ladies and gentlemen in the gallery. Good night to those online.